Welcome to Grammar Lesson 7. This week we are looking at the part of speech pronouns. As you remember, a pronoun is a word used in place of one or more nouns. It may stand for a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. There are several different kinds of pronouns that we are going to review this week. We're going to look at personal pronouns, reflexive and intensive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative pronouns, relative pronouns, and indefinite pronouns. A personal pronoun refers to one speaking, that's first person, the person spoken to, which is second person, and then the person spoken about, which is third person. So I want you to get this chart in your notes, so you might need to pause the video to get the chart. Because when we classify pronouns, as you know, since this is our 7th week of school, in our DGP we classify them by type of pronoun, whether they're first, second, or third person pronouns, whether they're nominative, objective, or possessive pronouns. So let's look at these examples. I hope that they can find your apartment by following our directions. So first thing we do is we identify our personal pronouns in this sentence, and we have I, they, your, and our. And the second thing we determine is if they are first person, second person, or third person. So I'm looking at that and I say, okay, I is first person pronoun, they is a third person, your is a second person, and our is a first person. Then I have to decide if it's a nominative, meaning it's within the subject portion of the sentence, or if it's objective, which is in the predicate portion of the sentence, or if it is possessive, which could be in either portions of the sentence. So, subjective or objective forms of personal pronoun depends on where they fall within the sentence. And remember, possessive could fall either in the subject or the predicate positions. So once again, we have a chart here for singular pronouns, whether it's a subjective or objective case, or plural pronouns. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I would like you to write it down in your notes. You may have to pause this video so that you have it for reference in our classroom activities and what you're going to do on Canvas. So these are personal pronouns. You have to know whether it's first, second, or third. You have to know whether it's subjective, nominative, or objective form. Reflexive and intensive pronouns relate to those pronouns that have the word self in them. You can see first, second, and third person pronoun here, so you need to copy that in your notes. But a reflexive pronoun refers to the subject of a sentence and functions as a complement or as an object of a preposition, whereas the intensive pronoun emphasizes its antecedent and has no grammatical function. So let's look at two examples which may help us understand this. The first is, Elena treated herself to a snack. Now if I'm going to analyze that sentence, Elena is my subject, treated is my verb. So Elena treated what? Herself. So herself is receiving the action of that transitive verb treated. So therefore it's a direct object. So in that sentence, herself is functioning as a direct object. Therefore I know that in this case it is reflexive. Let's look at the second example. Albert himself organized a fundraiser. Okay, I'm going to analyze that sentence. I say Albert is my subject, organized is my verb. Organized what? Fundraiser. So fundraiser is my direct object. So himself has no grammatical function within that sentence except for emphasizing the antecedent, which is Albert. Remember, your antecedent is the noun which is represented by your pronoun, what it's connected to. So in that case, it's intensive. So for reflexive and intensive pronouns, you just have to remember it deals with the self pronouns, and you need to analyze how it's being used in the sentence to determine if it's a reflexive or an intensive pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns are very common. We use them a lot. A demonstrative pronoun is used to point out a specific person, place, or thing. This and these are used when an object is in close proximity to the body, while that and those are objects far away. So, for example, let's see. If I said, this ace bandage, I put it right here on my knee. This ace bandage is just phenomenal when I'm hurt. So I use this because it's close to me. Now I'm going to throw it away, the other side of my desk. And I say, that ace bandage I like to use when I stub my toe. So remember, I use this when it's close to my body, that when it's far away. So this is what you need to remember about demonstrative pronouns. This and these refer to close to the body. That and those refer to far away from the body. Let's look at the examples. That is Sohee's favorite restaurant in San Francisco. So I look at that and I understand that it's a demonstrative pronoun, meaning something that is not next to the person. It's a distance away. The tacos that I made taste better than those. So I know that those are not right next to me. So it tells you proximity. Demonstrative pronouns point out specific things, but also tell you their position in relationship to the speaker. Interrogative pronouns are kind of easy because they're the question pronouns. So we have who, whom, which, what, and whose. And I don't know why that just went away. Okay, we're going to bring it back. Example. Which of the songs is your favorite? Which is an interrogative pronoun taking the substitution for the title of the song that's your favorite. What is your parakeet's name? So what takes the position of an interrogative pronoun replacing the name of the bird? So interrogative pronouns, they introduce a question. Then we have relative pronouns. A relative pronoun introduces a subordinate or dependent clause. Now these, when you're studying clauses, if you know your relative pronoun, man, you've got it. Because it's like blinking. I'm a relative pronoun. I'm introducing a dependent clause. So these you need to pay attention to because after winter break, we're going to come back and we're going to study clauses, and you need to know relative pronouns. And our relative pronouns in English are that, which, whose, whom, and whose. Okay, let's look at this. The ship that you saw is sailing to Greece. Okay, that you saw is a dependent clause. The word that is like a blinker sign announcing that there's going to be a clause there. So that you saw. Example. Isabella is my friend who is training for the Boston Marathon. Okay, so that word who is introducing or flashing out that that dependent clause. So it's important that you know these because you're going to be identifying them. And of course, you're already doing it in your DGPs. Indefinite pronouns are pronouns that refer to one or more person, places, ideas, or things that may or may not be specifically named. There's a whole list of them. So this is another place you need to stop the video and copy this list down, because it will come in handy when you're doing your activities in Canvas and when you're going to do your activities on Monday. So you need to have this in your notes. Okay, let's look at a couple examples. Pretty easy to pick out here. Angelo has everything he will need to go rock climbing. Everything is your indefinite pronoun. It's not specific, but yet it's a pronoun representing a number of things, so it's indefinite. Is anyone at home? Anyone is not identified to the name of people or the number of people, but it is an indefinite pronoun relating to people. Or pets, I suppose. Most of the birds have already flown south for the winter. Most is your indefinite pronoun. Okay. One last thing I want to remind you of before we leave this is your pronoun antecedent agreement. Remember that the antecedent is that the word that the noun relates to or stands for in that sentence. And you have to have agreement in number for them. Example, Larry and his camera. Larry had his camera stolen. So Larry is a singular subject, singular noun. His is a singular pronoun. Whereas we have Larry and John had their cameras stolen. Now it's plural. A plural subjects need a plural pronoun. Okay, so this ends our slides on pronouns. So what you need to do now is do your Canvas activity, do the best you can do, correct your own answers, bring your grade in on Monday along with your notes, and I'll give you the points for those. So good luck with pronouns this week, and enjoy your weekend.